So I'm going to put together another junk journal pocket from the Valentine's junk journal pocket kit. Now I had one that I have already done a video for, and you can find that in my YouTube channel here. So I'm doing a totally different one with some of the different parts of the kit. So it comes with the pocket and the main tags. There are two different kinds. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you all the things that you can do with all the different pieces, and you'll never really come up with the same pocket twice if you do not want to. So normally what I would do is I would score my edges. I don't have my tool with me right now, so I am going to simply fold my pockets right along. There's a very thin line right along the edge of where the pocket is, and I'm just going to take and score that. And normally I also have a bone folding tool. I'm just going to use my fingernail. I printed these on cardstock so that they have a little bit of a heavier weight to them. Some of the back papers though, the background papers, I did do one set cardstock and one set plain paper, just because I wanted some that weren't quite so thick as cardstock to use on some of the things. So here's my pocket. It's folded. I'm going to take a little bit of my zip dry glue here. And because I want this to be a little bit stronger, I'm going to use the zip dry glue on it just to make sure that everything kind of stays together for the pocket. And I'm going to put just a little bit of extra glue right on those edges so that they stay together. I'm just going to hold it for just a second, just to make sure that it stays. Now, this little fold kind of comes over the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take my scissors and I'm just going to trim that little extra white piece off. There we go. There we go. And all of these supplies that I'm using can be found on my website. So under the things I use and love, because I will never say that I'm going to use something and love it if I don't really use it. So here's my pocket now. Because I love the distressed look, and again, I don't have my normal tool for using my inks, so I just have a little piece of sponge that I cut, and I'm going to use that to do my edges here. I love that distressed look. I love the feel of it. I think it's just the coolest, and I will use this. This is the walnut stain by Jim Holtz. I have the entire set and I love it. I think it just gives it a little more of a dimensional feel, and I just really like it a lot. Okay, so I have my pocket. I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to add a backing to my tag. Now I'm not going to use the regular paper for this one. I'm actually going to use some of the cardstock. So I hate wasting paper. So I'm going to actually put this right down on the bottom, and I have the good side up with my tag and the bottom is the good side down. So to make it easy on myself, so I'm not guessing, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put glue stick. One, because I need it to be able to lay flat, and it doesn't need super strength to be glued together. Slide it over just a tiny bit. There we go. I'm going to really flatten it out and get all the air bubbles out. Make sure there's nothing that's popping up on me. And I'm just going to take my scissors and just trim right along that edge. Now, I would suggest making multiple copies of the back papers just because I use them for multiple things. I use them for the back of my tag. I use them for the back of the bookmark that I made, which I'll show you in a second. And that's why I like to do paper, the background paper on both regular paper and cardstock. So I'm going to take this pocket now with my zip glue because I do want to make it have a little bit of strength. That kind of came undone a little bit, so we're going to put a little extra glue on there. I do want it to have a little bit of extra strength just because it is the pocket and it holds all the goodies inside. Now I'm going to match that right up with my tag. There we go. And I'm just going to hold that for a second. Hold it, hold it, hold it. All right. I had a hole punched. So, and actually, I'm gonna wait because I am gonna add a little extra of the washi paper with this one. So I'm gonna add a little bit of glue stick. And I'm actually going to put it right across the top where that hole was for now. I feel like scrapbooking and junk journaling has all become about layers of color and texture, and just everything pretty. I'm debating. You know, I think I might put this like right along here. I kind of like that. It's not directly below, but I kind of like that. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue stick on there, and then I'm gonna trim it. Like I said, there's so many combinations you can do with these kits. It's pretty amazing, all the different things that you can get out of one kit. All right. I'm just gonna trim that washi tape just a little, just a tiny bit along the edge. There we go. I love that. Okay. So there's all kinds of ephemera and pieces and things that are included in this kit. And so I started to kind of cut some pieces apart and take a look at some of the things that can go together that would be really pretty. And kind of decide how I wanted to do this. So I have one of the rose little ephemera pieces, and I don't really want to cover it all the way up, but maybe I'll just put this kind of down in the corner, kind of off to the side a little bit. But I am going to add some of that stain, and I'm actually going to put a little bit of the stain along the edge of that washi paper. Just so it kind of matches up with the rest of the tag. There we go. There. Alrighty. So super cute so far. And we're going to glue this little sign down. Happy Valentine's Day with love. Like that. So we have our pocket. Alrighty, now is the fun part. Now, I told you about the bookmark that I made. And what I did was I took pieces of the tags and ephemera, and this is part of the backing paper, and this is part of backing paper, and I created this cute little bookmark that I'm going to include in the pocket, kind of as an extra little gift, because you know, who doesn't love a cute little bookmark? And I did laminate it after I put it together, just so that it would have some really good extra strength in there. So I love that one. So that is going to be kind of the extra little gift that I'm going to use with that one. So there's also these little tags. Now this one you can, you know, use to write a cute little note on, you know, just a little something that's a little extra and pretty. You know, this one has handwriting on it. You can write a little thing in the top of it if you'd like, but super cute. I really like these. So I'm going to decide sort of how I want to add some dangles and things, because here is some of the regular tags. And I was kind of playing around. I am going to take, and actually I'm going to make this more dimensional. I'm going to make this one kind of pop up a little bit. So what I'm going to do with that first is I'm going to take a little bit of the washi tape, and I'm going to place it across the top, not all the way to the top, because I want my little grommet to stand out. So I'm going to take my washi tape, I'm going to line it up here, and I'm just going to give it a trim real quick. Give it a little glue on there, a little glue stick. Actually, I'm going to turn it this way. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of cardstock, just the white cardstock, and you can use like the little styrofoam little, you know, the circles and things if you want to use that. And actually, I don't want it sticking up really far, but I want it to have just a little bit of dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little piece of cardstock, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on there just to glue it together. And I'm going to place it right in the middle here. And then on that, I'm going to put just a little bit of glue. And I'm going to line everything up. And I just fussy cut this little rose piece out of the paper because it's separate. It is separate from the tag. It's because I have a couple of these roses because I thought they were super cute. So now I'm just going to let that sit. I'm going to let that sit and dry. It's going to, you know, it's going to pop up a little bit from the background. Okay. So we're going to set that one aside and let it dry for just a little bit so that way I can add some ribbon to that one. Now let's take a look. I really like this guy here, and I think this together would be super, super cute. So I'm gonna grab my ink again. Now, I'm gonna have to decide. I really don't necessarily want to cover that up. So it's like, do I just want to glue this little heart on the bottom? If I add the ink to it, it's going to separate it because of the different color. And it's a little darker around the edge. And that's what I love about this, is that you can kind of play around with adding things and putting things together. So you know what? I'm gonna glue this on top of here, and then we're gonna do something a little bit unconventional here. So I'm gonna glue this on. Kind of like so. And then let's take the small one, and let's do two little holes there. Let's see if we can put this through. Oh, we can. Look at that. Perfect. And I'm just going to tie a tiny little bow. Now, if your little tails are not behaving, you can glue them right in place. You can take and glue those little guys right in place where you need them. And I might do that just because they're not really behaving right now. Use my zip glue, and I'm going to put a little drop right by the bowl, right there. And then I'm going to bring this guy down a little bit. I'm going to hold that in place just for a minute. So in most times you put the bow up on top, I am putting it on the bottom. And this is just not wanting to behave for me. There we go. There. All right, so I have this little guy for a tag. Put him right in there. All right, let's move on to another one. So I love this little postcard tag. And actually, this one's dry. Before we start this one, let's finish this one. So I'm gonna add a green ribbon to this one. And basically what I like to do is just double it up, even it out. Take and put this through the hole in the middle and put my ends through that loop and just pull it through. So I have a cute little tag, and we're going to add this one in. All right, now let's do this one. So these two are very different. I kind of like the letter. I'm wondering if I just take and maybe do it at an angle perhaps. And then add a little word thingy on there. That would be really cute. Let's do that. So where's my bigger hole punch? Here it is. So this is pretty simple. I am gonna add some distress to this one too. And we'll do it to the words as well. I normally have my little handled ink tool, but I don't have it with me right now, so we're gonna make the best of what we got. And that's what I would suggest for you too. If you don't have the money to buy the tools to do all of this crafting fun with scrapbooking and junk journals and things, just use what you've got. Make it work until you can get it. Alrighty. So let's see here. Let me use a little of this off-white. I think this is really cute. And I am just cutting the edges so that they're at an angle. And again, I'm gonna put this through all three. So that I have a tag with dangles, and I can do the tag itself. There we go. I do that a lot where I just forget to do the inking and it ends up being fine. It's just, then I'm like, oh, I should have done that. But it's fine. It totally is fine. There. So there you have a tag with some little dangles on it. You can write a note on the back. And then this one's going to come in there like that. And let's see. Let's do... let's do this. I like these two. We're going to put these two together. Trying to get it so it's centered. Okay, so we've got that. And let's do a little bit of the sheer burgundy. I think that's really pretty. through. Now I do have these pockets separately. So if you don't want to do the whole kit and you just want to do one of the pockets, you can do that. Okay, so this. Oh, let's see. Let's do. I really love this little typewriter all by itself. I'm just going to use it as some little ephemera in there. Just a little typewriter peeking out. I don't want to turn that into a tag. I just really like it the way it is. Now I have these other ones that I cut out. And I almost feel I don't know. Actually, I'm going to take and I'm going to glue this tag on the back. And I'm going to ink this Handmade with Love. And I'm going to put that right on the bottom here. There we go. Okay, that's super cute. Oh, that is so cute. Maybe I'll just make this a separate tag. Piece of the background paper. No, let's just leave it. Let's just leave it. Let's just leave it how it is. And you know what? I don't even think I need ribbon on there. Okay. So here is a stuffed pocket. And you know, like I said, you can pick and choose whatever pieces that you want to use out of the kit to create your own stuffed pocket. And this is absolutely totally different than the first one that I did. And if I do another one, it will be, again, totally different than this one and the first one. So there are so many pieces, so many ways that you can combine things, and it's great. And I love it, and I think it's super cute, and I hope you do too.